Hi everyone, this is Martha here. I'm here today to do a special interview for someone who is an expert at doing awards and supporting small business owner. I'm truly grateful to have her here today. It was a post that I did in one of the networking group and she reached out and we had a great chat and I can see how successful she is in doing what she does. So today I have Lauren here. Hi, Lauren. Thank you so much for being in our space. I'm so grateful for your teaching today.
Hello, Martha. It's awesome to be here. And I'm really excited to be talking about awards with you today, especially with your awards open as well, because I'm sure there's a lot of things that people aren't aware of with how they can leverage awards to build their credibility. And there's probably a lot of people on the call today who are thinking, oh, I like the idea of it, but I just don't think I'm ready. I haven't done enough. And all these little voices in their head that are telling them they're just not just, let's just wait a year maybe and see what happens. And I'm here to tell you, you don't need to wait. You should be absolutely looking at the awards right now. So I can't wait to get into this with you.
That is amazing because I think that one of the biggest challenge I found women has is also one of the reason why I created the award is that we don't feel we are good enough.
Mm.
Like who are we to get recognized? Who are we for entering an award? Who are we to actually let people see who we are?
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Women do it a lot. It's what I call the itty bitty shitty committee. And I've got some of them here. Look, there's a little one there. There's an itty bitty one I can give to you if you really want one of those. But we have lots
Yeah.
of things going on in our heads. The itty bitty shitty committee, these voices that tell us, you haven't done enough. Don't be a show off. A lot of women, goodness me, I knew I grew up in an era where you didn't talk too much as a girl. You were told to be quiet and to be good, and to not show off and all those sorts of things and not have too much pride. Pride comes before a fall, all that sort of stuff. So yes, when you think about awards and you think about how icky it might feel that you're shining a spotlight on yourself, I would encourage you, if you're thinking that, just to stop for a moment and work out where that feeling's coming from. Because as you said, Martha, a lot of it isn't to do with the fact you haven't done enough or that you're not good enough. It's more to do with self-belief and lack of confidence in your own abilities. But also, something that most people don't know is 90% of awards that are out there don't ask for financial information. So they don't want to
Oh.
know how many sales you've had. They don't want to know how much money you're making. They don't want to know that. So a lot of people think they've got to front up with that sort of, I've got to have massive growth or huge numbers in order to even enter awards, let alone be competitive.
Mm.
And it's just not the case. Especially, we're talking about your awards, Martha, here, the Celebrate Women Awards. It's about celebrating you as a human being, not even necessarily as a business owner. There's
Yeah.
so much more around resilience and around your challenges and what you've overcome, especially in the Celebrate Women Awards. Some of the categories are amazing for that, for individual achievement, community give back, how you've lifted up others, or just they're awesome categories for that. They're not business orientated at all. It doesn't mean you can't enter them if you've got a business, but it opens it up for so much more opportunity. Because let's face it, women aren't just one thing. We never seem to be like that. We seem to be, lots of these things. We're a carer, we're a mother, we're a wife, we're a bookkeeper often for our husband's businesses or our partner's businesses. We might be the CEO of a business or a co-founder of something we started from the kitchen table, that's grown into something bigger. We might be an employee. We might be an employer. We might have a team of people that we're looking after, managing all of these multiple hats. So women tend to do that a lot. We tend to be able to juggle quite a bit more. And we do spread ourselves thin. And I wonder whether that's what leads a little bit to this, I don't think I've done enough, because we are trying to juggle so much and put out so many fires. But the funnest thing is, Martha, when people do stop to look at what they have actually achieved, because this is the absolute best thing about awards, way more than the trophy, is that it actually makes you just pause for a minute, because it asks you questions like, okay, so what have you achieved in the last couple of years? What are some of the impacts you've had? What are some of the challenges you've had, and how did you overcome those? When you stop for a moment to think about those things, you do realize very quickly exactly how much you have achieved and what you've done and what you're actually capable of. Because it's not always unicorns and rainbows, it's just not the way in life and in business. It isn't always this up, up, up. There's so many things that go on in our lives. But that's the vital part of doing awards, is you get reminded of what you've done and what you've achieved. And women are really bad at stopping and figuring out and looking back at what we're constantly focused on. What do I have to get done today? What's on my to-do list? What are the things I have to get done for my family this week or for my business? And we don't stop and realize. And when you stop and you look at your diary and you go, man, I got a lot of stuff done, you don't realize. It's really important that you take that moment to look back. Do you find that, Martha, when you're dealing with a lot of your award entrants with the Celebrate Women Awards, that they say to you, it was so nice to just stop for a moment and look at what I've achieved?
Definitely. And I think that a lot of people don't realize what they have. They keep thinking, oh, it's just is it a scammy thing? Is it a dodgy thing? They think about that, but they don't even think about what is the investment am I putting in and what I'm getting out. And I think that is one of the biggest things that I wanted to differentiate from a lot of different awards out
Mm.
there. A lot of different awards, yes, you get the recognition, you get all of that, but there's not a lot of physical support after the sales surface, put it that way. I particularly put in place things that will help them in their business to be seen a lot more. And can I ask you why award helps to build trust and authority with the potential clients that they may see in the platforms?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. So, yeah, awards are way more than just the trophy, although they're nice to have on the shelf. And whenever I'm having a bit of a down day and I go, oh, why am I doing this? Oh, it's too hard being in business. I just pick one of those and go, you know what? We're doing okay. We've won these. And I thank my team and so on. Look, trophies are fantastic, and the awards programs are great to force you to stop and to reevaluate what you've done in your business and so on. And it's always such a great process. But you're right. You need to be very selective when it comes to which awards are best to enter. And I know when we had a chat the other day about the Celebrate Women Awards, and you told me all of the things you do to support people as part of their package. So you enter the awards, it's a very affordable entry fee with your awards. It's very simple. You write out your answers and you record a video and you're done. Basically, 5 questions, you upload it and you're done. So it's a very simple, straightforward process that you have. It also has quite a lot of integrity as well. You've got a number of people who do the judging who don't know the entrants. So there's no unconscious bias going on, so it's a really good way of doing it. And then every single finalist gets from you, an interview on your podcast, an article and an advertisement in your magazine. It gets outreach straight away. Because this is the other thing, close to 100% of people who enter awards do all that work. They put their entry together and they work late to get it done and so on. And they hit the submit button and then they forget about it. And they go, I'll just wait and see if I win, I might go to the gala event or whatever, but I'm just going to forget about it. And sometimes awards can take 3 or 6 or sometimes even 12 months before they're actually announced. That's a long time for that very, very useful content that you've just created for your award entry to sit and no one to see it. You and the judge, and that's it, right? So what we suggest is that you do what we call AGC, award generated content. So from the moment you submit it, you should be repurposing that award that you've written into articles, blogs, social media posts, EDM newsletters, LinkedIn newsletters, getting it out there. Choose a topic once a week and go back to your entry and go, what can I write about? I'm just going to take that one little snippet, whether it was around a challenge that you overcame or a case study with a client or a new product that you created or a struggle that you had that you innovatively overcame. Find that little aspect of your entry and then repurpose it. But you're right, Martha. It's not just what you do yourself. You should be looking at what the awards platform does for you as well. So one of the reasons why awards create so much credibility is what I call branding by association. So when your name is in the same sentence as a Telstra Best of Business or a Stevie Award or an award of some sort, it just levels you up that little bit higher. So it's branding you by association with those other companies and with the other people who win those. So the things I'd look at is what other people are entering those awards. So we've had people enter awards up against IBM, Google, Apple, TripAdvisor, these big brands, huge companies, and yet the women who run those businesses are solopreneurs. So immediately you level yourself up in the range of these other big companies. One of the amazing women, Amy Tink, who came with us to New York last year to the Stevie Awards, actually said it felt like running with thoroughbreds. And it's just putting your brand up there at that level that you're more trustworthy, you're credible, you're going to be around to look after people, especially if you are selling a service and people pay you later. So real estate, financial advice, all the rest of it. they're not going to get any wins right away. It'll be years later that they get the value of your services. So you need that credibility up front. And if you sell a product or you've got an e-commerce store, there's actual research that tells us 80% conversion is improved if you've got award logos on your checkout. So putting some of those, even as a finalist, you don't, put them inside the laurel leaves. The laurel leaves are like the international language of victory. So put a little laurel leaf up there with the award logo and the fact you're a finalist, pop that on your shopping cart, and it will improve your checkout by 80%. Because people are just looking for trust. They're looking for, can I trust you? Are you the real deal? And if you've won awards for what you do, then yes, it gives them that feeling that they can trust you, that they're going to pay you and you're going to deliver.
Wow, that is a very good statistic because now that I can actually add that into my advertising, I think so.
Yep.
Definitely, that's what we want people to do. Even that my award is more for our community award. You don't have
Yes.
to be in a business to actually be in it. But I do understand a lot of business owner go in wanting to actually get more notice, more leave, and just to let people know what they do. So, what
Yep.
are the most common myth that stop people from applying for an award?
Yeah, I think a lot of them think that every one of the awards that are out there, you have to have some sort of great, huge win. You either have to
Mm.
have, exponential growth or massive clients coming on board or some sort of massive innovation that's, got itself listed somewhere and so on. I think our level of what we think we need to do, and this is women do this all the time. There's that stat, I think it's from Harvard, where men were offered a role and they immediately put themselves forward for it, whereas women were offered the same role and they went, oh, I don't think I've done enough to go for that role yet. I think it was like most of the men went for it and most of the women didn't. And it's just the same thing. We just don't consider ourselves to have done enough. We're not competitive enough, which is really interesting. And you wonder sometimes, Martha, when is it going to be time that you feel confident enough in yourself? There's that saying, if not now, then when? If not who, then, is it going to be you? Put yourself forward for these things because you just never know who you might be up against. I guess the question you really want answering is why people should look specifically at entering these awards. What I love about the Celebrate Women Awards is you say exactly that. It's about the individual, it's about community, it's about give back, and it's about purpose. And so many women-led and women-run businesses and organizations, we don't just do it because of an income. We don't just do it because, hey, it's a great way to pay the bills or whatever it is. So many of our businesses as women are purpose-led. So we are driven by something more than just the bottom line. We're driven by how we impact people, on what we give back to our communities, on how we take people along with us, how we help others out. And I think that's a big part of the Celebrate Women Awards. And you've got some great categories there because a lot of business awards don't. They don't often have, they ask for what has your business been doing over the last 12 months? What are some of the major milestones and why are they so important? Your questions are different. They're more about, what is your impact that you want to have? How are you impacting your community? What are you doing as a woman in a community or in any sort of role where you're creating an influence and a positive world for other people? And there's so many different ways you can answer that. It could be in health, it could be in well-being, it could be in fundraising, it could be in, donating things, it could be sustainability. There's so many different ways that women give back. And I love the fact that these awards are all about that. So yeah, I think the biggest myth is you have to have achieved like massive multi-million-dollar growth or huge sales in order to even be eligible to enter awards. And your awards prove, Martha, that that's just not the case. There are so many
Definitely.
out there. The other thing I think as well people hold back on is and this is more of a cynical opinion, a lot of people think, oh, if you've got to pay to enter, then there's a problem with that. You're basically paying to earn a recognition, right? What they don't realize is that there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes with awards programs. So as you know, Martha, you're running one yourself. You've got the portal to manage, you've got the judging to manage, you've got all of the support that you provide them. And I mean, that with your awards especially, Martha, they're getting thousands of dollars worth of benefit, and it's costing them a whole $90 to enter. So it's like it's the give and take for that. But it's not most people think, oh, if I've got to pay to enter, it's not a real award. If you have to pay to win, That's a different thing entirely. And I get them on a weekly basis. I get emails, congratulations, you've been announced as the Australian leading woman in personal branding who's got short blonde hair, who's aged over 50. Do you know what I mean? And by the way, it only costs $2,500 to accept your award. That's not an award win. I didn't do anything. I didn't nominate myself. I didn't put an entry in. I didn't put a submission in. They just say, hey, I'll pay you some money and you can say that you're this. Now, there's two issues with those awards. One, they're not very credible. People know that. All you got to do is go and look online and you'll find that it's just a pay to play type situation, right? And number two, you really can't leverage it. You haven't written a support document, you haven't created anything, you haven't uploaded a submission, so you've not taken the time to put anything together. So you can't really repurpose that and turn that into blogs and articles and newsletters and so on. So just be wary of those ones. But if you're entering an international business award or a large business award, it's going to cost you. It's either going to cost you an entry fee or it's going to cost you time. And the Telstra Awards are open right now at the moment. Sadly, I've noticed that they've no longer got their Accelerating Women category, which was the one that we won in 2024 for helping so many women with awards. But they've got amazing awards for businesses. They're free to enter, but you're probably going to need a good 2 weeks to get your entry together for that, because it's a lot of questions, a lot of writing and videos you've got to record and upload. It's a lot of work involved in those. So Australian Small Business Women's Champions Awards are open at the moment. Again, free to enter, no cost to enter, but 10 questions. 10 questions, specific categories, support document required, lots of work. So you're going to pay somehow, right? And what I like with the Celebrate Women Awards is it's 5 questions, 5 simple questions and a video, and you're done. And you've got great content. It's a low entry fee and it's great return and great support and a really good way to dip your toe if you want to have a crack at awards.
That sounds amazing. So what is a practical way to position yourself as an industry leader? I see it being a part of the war is because there's so many of us, especially in the coaching world, there's a lot of us out there and competition is getting tougher and tougher. And we want people to have something to share in their social media, in their stuff, to actually be identified as an industry leader.
Yeah, I love it. Great question. The thing with awards is they're like third-party endorsement. There's somebody not in the room telling somebody else how good you are. So, and I know when I entered my first awards back in 2016, I entered the Stevie Awards for women. And Asia Pacific was the first one I did. And I entered my personal branding approach that I'd created from my years of experience as a branding specialist. And I put that program in. I used the case studies of the people I'd coached and I'd worked with and so on. And I won a Silver Stevie Award up against some big agencies in that category. But the thing that really got me was the judges' comments that came back that were telling me, this is amazing. You're doing amazing work. You're making something really, high level, quite affordable for people. You're tapping into the specialists who are out there who are professional service providers who, like you say, are in real estate, in finance, in mortgage broking, in coaching, all the rest of it, very, very highly competitive spaces and sectors. And the minute you have a couple of these awards around what you do, it just levels you up in terms of people trusting you. The secret with it, though, Martha, is choosing the categories wisely. So if you really want to be known as somebody who's a coach, but you absolutely push people out of their comfort zone, you change their lives, and maybe you deal in an area of trauma or addiction or something like that, you might want to go for something like a Maverick of the Year award type category, because that's what people are looking for. They're over the pre-recorded online programs that don't work for them. They want someone who's going to push them. However, if you maybe wanted to just focus on helping women in business, you might look for a Women Helping Women category or Coach or Mentor of the Year category. If you're an executive coach and you work in corporate level, you might want to go for one that's more about an Executive Woman of the Year and go for those categories. So it really is about being very selective with which awards you go for and which categories you choose that you can leverage, so that when people see you and they see, oh, you've won, and I've won a Gold Stevie Award as Entrepreneur of the Year, which is awesome because I want to work with other entrepreneurs. And if I've won a Gold International Award for doing that, they're going to trust that I know what I'm talking about. If you want to really blow people away because you've got great customer service, especially in sectors where customer service isn't great, so maybe the financial sector or the retail sector, where customer service is always a bit iffy, and you want to be known as someone who's really great customer service, you might go after those categories. If you're running an amazing team of people and you want to have people come and work with you, you might go for great place to work type awards and categories. If you're awesome at sales, there's sales awards, there's even an award for trench digging out there. So there are awards and categories for everything that you might do. So the three things to think about, and I would suggest you think about this in the back of your mind as well. If you're looking at the Celebrate Women Awards categories and going, which one should I go for? There's three things to think about. Number one is eligibility. So as a woman, you are probably eligible for all of them. However, which ones are you like a no-brainer for? Which ones it's like obvious that you are absolutely eligible for that one? There are some awards that have age restrictions or company size restrictions. For the Telstra Awards, you have to have less than 200 staff. For the AFR Awards, you have to have more than 20. For the CEO Magazine Awards, you need to be turning over more than 5 million. So there's every different award will have its different criteria. So what are you most eligible for? Which ones jump out at you as obvious ones to go for? The next thing you should look at is competitiveness. So how competitive are you going to be, not knowing who else might show up in that category, in terms of what you've achieved? And that might just be in terms of what you've been giving back this last year. Was that project that you're talking about, was it in the last 2 years or was it older than that? So just think about, how are you going to be really competitive in that space? And then the last thing you want to think about when you're thinking about your categories and selecting them is leverageability. So even if you didn't win, even if you weren't a finalist, which one of those categories could you most use just by saying you're an official entrant? Yep. So put those laurel leaves around it, put the logo of the awards, official entrant, and pop it on your website. Which one of those categories would you really be able to leverage, even if you didn't win it, even if you weren't a finalist? So those are the three things. What are you most eligible for? What are you going to be most competitive in? And what are you going to be able to leverage regardless of the outcome? So look for those.
Definitely. I think you gave us some really, really good idea of what to do. And you really open up my eyes as well in my advertising wise. How do I actually make it better? How do I actually let people know why it is actually going to help them? Wanting a what isn't easy. And a lot of the smaller business owner like myself who are wanting awards knows how much work it actually involves. So I'm really grateful for Lauren here for sharing with me her wisdom during this interview with us, letting people know why they need to enter a award. So if you are wanting a award and you need support, please talk to Lauren about it. She's absolutely amazing. Definitely someone that we want to see more of in our industry. Not everyone in our industry is just wanted to suck your money out, okay? We're here to help each other so we can all be successful. It is a better world when we all work together.
Yeah, absolutely. A rising tide lifts all ships for sure, Martha. I love the fact that we're improving the way that the awards are being promoted as well as helping people enter them today. That's a double win. You can either contact us and we can help you. We've got a whole team of writers that do all the writing. We interview you, we write everything, create the support docs and so on. We'll even write your script for your video for you. The other thing, at the beginning of this year as well, Martha, we took all of our IP, so all of our award-winning knowledge from the last 10 years, and we put it into something called the Audacious Academy. So it's like the Netflix of profile building. So you can just binge watch whichever ones you want. So there's a whole part in there, a whole section that you can just binge watch around how to choose the right category. There's one around how to write your entries, on how to leverage it, all different things in there, and you can just binge watch what you want. It's all online. We've got our fabulous AI, her name's Annie, and she'll help you around and show you what you need to do to make sure that just makes it easier for entering, winning, and leveraging awards, which is really cool.
Oh, that is amazing. Please share that with us later in the comment. And ladies, feel free to grab them out because I didn't know that before. So I'd love to actually have those information and share it with you all.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Lauren, for your help today. I have learned so much from you, and I look forward to seeing you again on our platform soon.
Absolutely. And if you're watching this and thinking, oh, maybe I should give it a go, absolutely. The Celebrate Women Awards, I've had a look at the categories. I've had a chat with Martha about how they're run. Highly recommend that you look through it and you get your entry, and don't leave it till the last minute. Don't type it straight into the portal. Just make sure you type it out into a separate Word document, because you just never know when the computer's going to die, and then you'll end up having to start from scratch. So look, take your time. Find the right categories. You're welcome to give me a buzz and I can give you some advice, whatever I can do to help. But yeah, love the awards that you're doing, Martha, and what you're doing to support your community. But the fact is, they're open to everyone, not just the people in the community. So if you're a woman and you're helping the community, you're in business, you're not in business, but you're doing amazing things, you've overcome some struggles, or you've done something really innovative, or you're just improving the lives of others and taking care of them, please have a look at the Celebrate Women Awards. They're amazing in their second year, and they're absolutely worth entering.
Thank you so much for your support. We really appreciate you. Thank you, everyone, for watching today's live interview with Lawrence here today. We look forward to seeing you again next time. Bye for now.